Hi YouTube, Unkert here. In this video, I want to talk about lists in Python. So let's create a new file, and I'm going to call that lists.py. Okay, and we'll get rid of the sidebar. And I'm going to create a list. So I'm going to say my underscore list equals, and we can mix data types, although it might not be advisable, but let me just show you that I can do that. So I'll do 1, 3, Ben, 5, and maybe something like a Boolean like true. Okay, so we can mix different things in the list. And we can go and print out items in the list with a for loop. So I could say something like for item in my list. And then what I could do is I could print the item. All right. And if I open up my terminal here, I'll run Python 3 lists.py. And there you go. I've got Tim, 1, 3, Ben, 5, and true. Okay? So I can definitely do that. I can create a list from a string as well. So let me show you that. So I'm going to go up here and delete the stuff out. And I'm going to say my string list equals, and I'm going to use this list function to create a list. So I'm going to do list, and then I'll pass in a string. And I'll do my name, Tim Unkert. Okay? And then what I'll do is I can print out the characters in the list. All right, so what I could do is I could say for character in my string list, and I could print the character, and let's change the end behavior just for fun. Let's do an exclamation point after every character. Okay, so we could do that, and let's open up the terminal and run that. Okay, so you'll see here that after each character in the list, I print an exclamation point. So I could loop through the list via characters. Okay. And I could also check if a character is in the list. So what I could do, and this will give me a Boolean value of either true or false, I'll print T in my string list. Okay, now this should print true. Now I can also do print T not in my string list. So this is checking if an item is not in the list. And the second one should print false. So let's run this. And we get true and false. Pretty cool. I can reverse a list with string slicing, or list slicing in this case. So what I could do is if I wanted to reverse my string list and print it in reverse, I can do my string list, and then I'll do a double colon here and then do the step of -1 to step backwards through the list. And you'll notice now that when I print that out, the list is printed in reverse. Okay? All right. We could reverse a list in a different way. This is a little bit of an odder way, but what we could do is we could say, we could print, and we could do the join method for strings that I showed you before, and then I'll do, this is, we'll reverse a string this way. Sorry, not the list. And then we'll do my string list, and then we'll use slicing, and we'll go reverse the list. Okay, so if we run this, we now get the string in reverse. So that's one way we could do it. Okay, we can create a list from a range. Okay, so I could say my nums list equals, and I can use this list method, and I can pass in a range. And remember, the range goes from the start to the stop is not included. So let's go, if we want to do numbers from 1 to 101, or 1 from 100, we'll do 1 as a start and 101 as the stop. And then let's go down here and we'll print my nums list. Okay, and if we print that out, we should get numbers in a list from 1 through 100, which we do. Pretty cool. We could also create an evens list with a step. So let me say my evens list. And I'll do a list, and we'll do a range. We'll do the start of 0, the stop of 102, and we'll do a step of 2. Okay? And let's print my evens list. Okay? And let me comment this out here so we don't print out my nums list. Okay, and we'll go here and print, and we see we've got all the even numbers from 0 to 100. So we could do that as well. In lists, we can create nested lists. So I'm going to create one called my nested list, and I'm going to open it here with square brackets like the other lists, and then I'm going to nest lists inside. So let's nest some characters here. Okay, and let's do some numbers here, and let's do some names here. Okay, so that's a nested list that we have, and let's say I want to print out the A. Well, I could print my nested list, and I could access it at index 0 as the first list, and then if I want to print out the A, it's going to be in the first list at index 0. So this should print out the A, okay? And it prints out the A. Now let's say I want to print out the N in Sean. We can even do that and go a little further. So I'm going to print my nested list, and I'm going to go to index 2 because it's the second list in the nested list, and then in there I'm going to go to index 1 because Sean is at index 1, and then I'm going to do the last letter in the list, which is, or last letter in the string, which is -1. So we can even do this if we want to. All right, and if I print this out, I get the N in Sean's name there. Okay. All right. Let's create another list. All right. So let's go up here, and I'll just create a list here of numbers, and we're going to show you how to use pop in a moment. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I'm going to say the last item, I'm going to assign this to a variable, the last item equals mylist.pop. Okay, so now let's print my list and also print the last item here. And if I run this, I get a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because we popped off the last value and put it in the variable last item. So last item is now 6. Okay. We can also pass an index into pop. So we could do something like first item equals mylist.pop, and we'll pass in 0 here, and then let's do the first item here. Okay, and let's run this, and we see now that the list has 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and the first item is equal to 1. Okay. We can clear a list as well. Let's say that I wanted to clear a list. Oops, let me undo that. So I could do my list.clear. Okay. And let's just go here. Let's print my list first. And then we'll do my list.clear and we'll print it again. Okay. So you see, originally it'll print the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then when we clear it, it just prints the opening and closing square brackets of the list. Okay, so we cleared out the list. We can sort a list. So I'm going to create a new list, and it's going to be unsorted here. So let's do the numbers. 4, 1, -2, -3, 7, and 8. And then we'll do my list.sort. Okay, and then we'll print my list. Okay, and let's run this. And we've got the numbers sorted from least to greatest. If I wanted to sort in reverse, I could say reverse equals true. Okay, and now if I print the list, I've got it from greatest to least. Okay, so we could do that as well. Let's change up the list here. So let's say my names list, and let's do a bunch of names here. And I'm just formatting it a little bit differently. We'll do some lowercase names and some uppercase names, and yeah, okay. And let's do my names list.sort here, and we'll go down and we'll print my names list. Okay. All right, so I'm going to open this up, and we see we've got Ben, Sean, Tim, but then Aaron comes, then we have Joe and Sarah. Okay, so why is that? Well, let me show you something kind of cool here. So let me get rid of this stuff, and what I'm going to do now is just print out the ASCII value of the character A, and I'm also going to print out, and we use this ORD function to do that, the ASCII value of the uppercase character A. All right, so if I go and do that, I see that the lowercase a is a value of 97, which is higher than the uppercase A, which has a value of 65. Okay, so when we're doing this sort here, we're doing it based off the ASCII values, which is why the lowercase names came actually after the uppercase name. So Aaron came after Tim, right? All right, so we can fix that. What we can do is my names list.sort, and we can say key equals str.lower. Okay, and now if we print my names list here, we'll get them in alphabetical order, regardless of whether they're capitalized or not. Okay. All right. We can copy a list. So let me go up here, create a new list that's not sorted. So we'll do 4, 1, -2, -3, 7, and 8. And then we'll say we'll create another list. My copy list equals my list.copy. Okay. And then we'll go down here and we'll do my list.sort, and we'll print my list and my copy list. Okay. All right. So if we do that, we get my list, which is sorted, but the copy is the original list. Okay. we can append items to a list. So let's do my list dot append, and let's say I want to append 9 to the end of the list. Then now if I print out my list here, okay, I get a 9 at the end of the list. Okay, so we've appended 9 to the end of the list. We can also have the length of the list. So let's print the length of the list. So we'll do my length and then pass in my list. And then we'll append something, and then we'll print the length of the list after we appended something. Okay, so let's go here. So we have the length of 6 originally here. We append something to the list. We get the 9 at the end, and now the length is 7. So we can use len to figure out the length of a list. All right. Go to the beginning here, and let's create another list here. Let's say my list equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we can extend a list, and that's adding another list to a list. So let's say my other list equals, and we'll do A, B, and C. Okay, and what we'll do here is we'll do my list dot extend, and then my other list. Okay, and now let's print my list. Okay, and if I do that here, I get this longer list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. So we can use extend to add to a list. Pretty sweet. All right, let's go back to here, and we'll create another list here. I'm going to say my list. I'm going to do that unordered list that I was doing. So 4, 1, -2, -3, 7, and 8. And we can find an index to an item within the list. So I'm going to print my list dot index, and I'm going to pass in the value I want to find. So -2 should be at the index of 2. So let's print this out, and we get the index of 2. Pretty sweet. We can remove an item from the list. So let's say I want to remove the -3. So I'm going to remove -3. And this, you pass the value into remove, okay? And now if I print my list here, I get a list without -3 in it. Pretty sweet. We can also delete an item in the list based off the index. So let's say I wanted to delete index 4. So I'm going to delete my list at index 4. This is how I would do it. And now if I print out my list here, you'll see that the 8 got deleted because once we removed the item, we had indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I deleted index 4, and now the 8 is removed. All right. One more thing I want to talk about is reversing a list. So let's go here, because we talked a little bit about slicing for reverse, but we can actually have a list method called reverse. So let's do A, B, and C here, and we'll do my list dot reverse here, and then we'll print my list, and we'll go ahead and we've got CBA. So we've got the list reversed. And then I just want to touch on a little bit on slicing again. So let's create a numbers list from a range, and we'll do list, and we'll pass in a range from 1, we'll have the stop at 101. So that's numbers from 1 to 101. Let's say we wanted to do the odd numbers. So what we could do is we could print, let's see, my nums list, and we could do a slice. We could do the start, we could do the stop, but the step would be at 2. I think this will do what we're wanting, or what I'm wanting. And let's print this, and we get all the odd numbers from 1 to 100. Okay, so that's the last thing I wanted to show you. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And I want to thank you for watching.